Hello students, so we are over here with the discussion of Grant Test 4 and let's start with the discussion over here. For the first question what we have over here is the baseline AB is the line joining Earth's two locations 6 months apart in its orbit around Sun. So let's say this is Sun, right? And this is the orbit. That is the baseline about the diameter of Earth's orbit. Okay, so it is just like this, which is approximately 3 into 10 raised to the power 11. Correct? A distant star C shows a parallax of about 1 arc second. So there is a distant arc, this distant star over here, and this angle is 1 arc second, right? The approximate distance of the star from Earth nearly is. So basically you need to talk about this entire distance over here, and I think this distance D can be calculated. This distance D over here is simply going to be whatever is this length, that is 3 into 10 raised to the power 11 whole divided by 1 arc second, and 1 arc second is how much? Sir, it is 1 by 60 of 1 arc minute, and 1 arc minute is 1 by 60 of 1 degree. 1 degree is pi by 180 of a radian. Calculated, you will get your answer. I hope you all have understood. The answer is going to match option number 2. Moving ahead, a resistor R2 is connected in parallel with a resistance R1. Okay, so here you have R1, here you have R2, right? And then there is a resistance R3 must be connected in series with the combination. So there is R3, correct? The equivalent resistance is equal to R1. So whatever is the equivalent of both of them, so equivalent will be R1, R2 upon R1 plus R2. And then you will add R3 to it. The equivalent result should be equal to R1, correct? You solve it, you will get a quadratic equation. So you can find out the value of R1 in terms of R2 and R3. Option number 1 will be matching over here, okay? I hope this question is making sense. Now let's move ahead. Given below are two statements. One is labeled A and assertion reason. Okay, self-inductance is called the inertia of electricity. Yes, it prohibits or basically it opposes. Self-inductance is the phenomena according to which an opposing induced EMF is induced in a coil. Perfectly right. Option number, wait, A is correct, B is correct, and R is the correct explanation also. Okay, so 2 is the right answer. An ideal gas under experimental conditions is found to obey additionally PV raised to the power x. It is observed that during expansion of the gas, the temperature is constant. That means PV raised to the power 1 is constant. X equals to 1. Simple problem. Arrange the following devices, the increasing order of the precision. Vernier caliper, screw gauge, optical instrument that can measure length to within a wavelength. Obviously, the most precise one is going to be this. So C will be the most precise one. Then after that, a scale calibrated to millimeter division. This is just like your meter scale. Correct, in which the least count is basically the least. See, wherever the least count is the smallest, that is more precise. So this will be least precise, that means D should be coming over here, okay? And between a screw gauge and vernier caliper, always screw gauges are more precise. That means C, then B, then A, then D. Option number 2 is correct. A magnet is cut perpendicular to length into two pieces of length, ratio 3:1. If a magnet is cut into two pieces, basically what happens is the net magnetic moment turns out to be whatever is the magnetic moment by 2. Okay, the ratio of the time period in given electric field line is. So here the magnetic moment is m, here the magnetic moment will be equal to m by 2 because the length has reduced to half. Now what about the time period? Sir, so the time period over here is omega is equal to under root of mb upon I, correct? So time period is 2 pi under root of I upon mb. Correct. So as you can see, the magnetic moment has become half. Not only this, the moment of inertia is also going to change. Okay. I've cut perpendicular length into two pieces of length ratio 3:1. Okay, they are cutting it in the ratio of 3:1, not half. So they are basically cutting it in the ratio of 3:1. So let's say this length is 3 and this is 1. So the magnetic moment, let's say, was capital M. Okay, which will be equal to the pole strength into length L. Now the M1 over here will be how much? The M1 over here will be equal to pole strength into L value over here, which is going to be L. If you consider the ratio, this is going to be 3L by 4 and this is going to be L by 4, correct? So it will be 3L by 4. That turns out to be 3 times M by 4. This is going to be M1 and the M2 over here, the smaller one, will be m by 4, right? So the magnetic moment is changing. The magnetic moment is changing over here, right? The next thing is, if you talk about the moment of inertia, right? So the moment of inertia is also going to change. The moment of inertia will also be changing because moment of inertia is depending upon the mass as well as the length. So now the mass over here, let's say the mass is this. So the mass over here is going to be m 3m by 4, right? And this will be m by 4. And even the length over here will be 3l by 4. And this will be l by 4. Am I clear? So the I will change. It's going to be m into l square. Take a simple case, whole divided by m into b. It is somewhat like this. So if you are noticing carefully, see, the mass is 3m by 4 and the magnetic moment is also 3m by 4. So 3 by 4 will cancel. Only L square will be remaining. That means 3 by 4 will get out. Correct? And over here also again m by 4 and m by 4 will cancel. I'm just talking about this thing. Okay? Rest of the variables are cancelling and n by 4 will be there. So it's going to be 1 by 4. That means 3:1 will be the answer. Option number 2 is perfect. I hope this is making sense. The 4 and 4 will also cancel. So it is going to be 3:1. Right? An organ pipe filled with oxygen gas at 47 degrees resonates in its fundamental mode at frequency 300 Hertz. Okay. If it is now filled with nitrogen gas, at which temperature will it resonate at the same frequency in the fundamental mode? So point over here is with temperature, the RMS speed changes. Okay, the RMS speed of the gas changes, and the frequency over here is V by 4L. Let's say I'm talking about an open organ pipe, correct? And this eventually is turning out to be how much? 300 Hertz. Now you want the same frequency. The gas over here now is nitrogen, and the temperature we need to find out. So basic point over here, what I'm just trying to convey is the velocity should be same because the length of the pipe is already same. Correct? So the velocity for both of them should be same. Now the velocity is expressed as 3RT upon m. This is the velocity, the RMS speed. Correct? So can you find out the ratio? Basically the ratio of under root of temperature is to mass for oxygen. Oxygen should be equal to under root of temperature of nitrogen is to mass of nitrogen, right? You use this equation. I hope through that you will be able to find out 7 degrees will be the right answer. Okay, avoid the under root on both the sides. You just need to find out the temperature in N2. Mn2 you can just multiply over here. Okay, I hope this is making sense. Let's move ahead for the next one. In the circuit shown, ammeter and voltmeter are idle. So the reading of ammeter and voltmeter will be, see, ammeter will have, idle ammeter has 0 resistance. And idle voltmeter has infinite resistance. So if there is 0 resistance over here, that means the entire current will flow through this. Correct? That means no current will flow through this. Entire current will flow through this. Correct? But the point is, will there be any current? No. Why? Because there is infinite resistance over here. If there is infinite resistance, so current value will be equal to whatever is the potential difference by infinity, that is 0. That means there will be no current flowing in the circuit. So the reading of ammeter will be 0. What about the reading of voltmeter? So there is no current, that means voltmeter reading will be 0? No. Voltmeter will be measuring whatever is the potential difference across the cell. So option number 2 will be the correct answer. It's a nice problem. Particle of charge q mass m starts moving from the origin under the action of an electrostatic field E equals to E naught I cap and B equals to B naught I cap. Okay, with a velocity this much. The speed of the particle will become 2 V naught after that. See, two forces are going to act on it, magnetic as well as electrostatic. Magnetic force will not increase the speed, electrostatic will increase the speed. You want the increment to be equal to 2 V naught. Okay, net speed. So net speed is 2 V naught. That means what I can say is that this velocity along j cap will be as it is, V naught, which is along j cap, and this velocity which is along I cap, this should be equal to how much? So that the net over here is turning out to be 2 V naught. Obviously this how much should be equal to root 3 times V naught, because when you do the under root of this plus under root of this, then eventually you will get 2 V naught. So in how much time you will be able to get this velocity with an acceleration only due to this? So simple, sir, V is equal to U plus AT. Straight away by that you can do it. Option number 4 will be the correct answer over here. Okay, I hope this is making sense. 4 transparent media A, B, C and D have refractive index in the ratio the critical angle is minimum. See, critical angle is always calculated as sin theta is 1 upon nu. Or basically you can consider mu of rarer is to mu of denser. So wherever theta is maximum, sin theta will be maximum. That means this should be lower because you want minimum. This should be lower and this should be higher. So you can take this as denser, you can take this as rarer, you will get the combination. That means A and D are the right answer. Okay. By what percent the impedance in the series LCR AC circuit should be increased so that the power factor changes from 1 by 2 to 1 by 4? R is constant. See, cos phi is equal to R by Z, right? You want to increase this from 1 by 2 to 1 by Z. Sorry, 1 by 2 to 1 by 4. Let's say R is constant 1 and 1. So that means Z is changing from 2 to 4. If you are changing from 2 to 4, you are changing by 2. That means you are just doubling it. Doubling it means there is a change of 100%. Option number 2 is correct. An electron in an atom jumps in such a way that its kinetic energy changes from x to x by 4, the change in potential energy. See, kinetic energy is always equal to negative of potential energy magnitude or negative of potential energy by 2. So potential energy is basically minus 2 times k. So here it's going to be minus 2x, and here the potential energy will be equal to minus of 2 into x by 4, that is minus x by 2. The difference from this to this is basically going to be plus 3x by 2. So option number 4 is the correct answer. Wheel of radius 0.1 is attached by a okay. So in this scenario, since they are not slipping, so basically whatever is the speed over here, the tangential speed is also the speed over here. Am I clear? Or basically there is no slipping. That means the amount of if in one full revolution, the amount of conveyor belt which will pass through it, the same amount of conveyor belt will pass through it. That means the 2 pi into R is 0.2 will be equal to small n means number of revolutions into 2 pi into 0.1. You'll solve it, you will get the value of n as 2. That means 2 is the correct answer over here. Okay? Perfect. Two solenoids of same volume have same number of turns, but their length are in the ratio 1:2, the ratio of the self-inductance. See, remember a simple formula, self-inductance per unit volume is equal to mu naught into n square. Correct? Now their volume are same. Mu naught is also same. I'm supposing there is no other medium. And n square, is it same? Same number of turns. Now this is the catch over here. They are saying same number of turns, but this n represents same number of turns. It represents number of turns per unit length. So the major point over here is you will have to write this as mu naught into capital N square upon L square. So that means this is depending inversely related to L. So since the length ratio are 1:2, L ratio will be 4:1. Option number 3 is correct. Okay. A wire of length L is bent such that it forms 3 sides of a square. The wire of length L is bent like this. That means each side is L by 3. And I obviously know the force over here will be equal to L cross B. That means the force will be upward. And the force simply will be equal to I. The length is L by 3 into B. In a hurry, you can just write this as L, but L is none of the option. And if there is an option, please don't take it. Read the question carefully. Assertion and reason. Velocity of a particle may decrease even if its acceleration is increasing. Absolutely correct, sir. Let's say the velocity is over here. Acceleration is increasing like this. Its velocity will reduce. So this is correct. Speed of a particle decreases when V dot A is, they're technically talking about the dot product, is less than 0. This being less than 0 simply means this statement only. Velocity is opposite to acceleration. This is the correct reason. That means option number A is the right one. A digital circuit has 3 inputs A, B and C. One input Y given by Y is equal to A bar B plus AC bar. Okay. Y is equal to 1 when exactly 2 of the inputs are 1. Are you serious? If I take A equals to 1 and B is equal to 1. So here becomes 0. Here C can be considered 0. So here it is, or C can be considered 1. C can be considered 1. So this is going to be again 0. So that means Y is not. So this is rejected. Correct? You consider any two, you take A and B as 0, A and B as 1 and try to see whether it is turning out to be 0. No, it depends on the value of C. Y is 0 only when all the 3 inputs are 0. If all the 3 inputs are 0, so here will be 1, here will be 0, here will be 0, here will also be 0. Okay, so they are saying Y equals to 0 only when 3 inputs are 0. All the 3 inputs are 0. When all the 3 inputs are 0, then it is only 0? No, I don't think so. It can be 0 in other circumstances as well. When, sir? If let's say A becomes 1. If let's say A becomes 1 and C becomes 1, okay, and B becomes 1. So A bar over here is 0. 0 into 1 will be 0, correct? And A over here is 1 and C bar will be 0. Again, you will have 0. So this is also rejected. That means A and B are rejected. C and D are obviously right. Y is independent of C when A is 0. Absolutely correct. You consider A as 0. So this term will be cancelled. Y is independent when A is 1. When A is 1, B is independent. It only depends on C. So C and D are right answer. Okay. 2-point charges are fixed on the x-axis, otherwise, okay, where the electric potential is equal to 0. See, this is a charge of lower magnitude. That means the point where electric potential is 0 should be closer to it. So it can lie over here, it can lie over here. That means region 2 and region 3. Okay, region 2 and region 3, option number 4. Find the work done to make a particle of mass small m from surface of earth to a height equal to 2r. At surface of earth, the potential energy is minus g capital M small m upon r. At a height 2r, you will have to include this r height also. Here the potential energy is minus gm small m upon 3 times capital R. Subtract it, you will get the work. This minus this, multiply a 3 and a 3. It's going to be 3g capital M small m upon 2. Correct. Now g capital M upon multiply an r and an r. So g capital M upon r square is g. So it is turning out to be 2 by 3 mgr. Correct. 2 by 3 mgr is option number 4. Perfect. A biconvex lens made of glass of refractive index nu is in air and has a focal length f. When it is completely immersed in a liquid, the focal length is found to be minus f. The refractive index of the liquid is. See, in this scenario, it's basically the point is mu of the lens, let that be nu or glass, upon mu of surrounding is 1. 1 upon r1 minus 1 upon r2. Since this is a biconvex lens, I can turn that to be 2 upon r. This is turning out to be 1 upon f. Now, instead of nu of glass, I consider water, right? So, water refractive index is how much? Okay, not water, they are in a liquid, no problem. So, mu of glass upon mu of liquid minus 1, 2 upon r is turning out to be again 1 upon f. If you equate both of them, this cancel, this cancel. That means nu g upon 1 minus 1 equals to nu g upon nu l minus 1. So, nu minus 1 is equal to nu g upon nu l minus 1. I'm so sorry, it has to be minus 1 also over here. That means this will multiply, so it has to be a minus 1 also over here. Okay. This is also nu. So, you add this or you take nu 2 over here. So, this will become minus nu plus 1 is equal to nu upon nu L minus 1 because the focal length was negative, right? There was a negative sign. Now, do one thing, take 2 over here, take 1 over here. You can just simply write it as this will be equal to 2 minus nu equals to nu upon nu L. So, nu L over here is nu upon 2 minus nu. This is the answer. Option number 2, correct? An electromagnetic wave is traveling in the direction of vector this. The wave is polarized along the direction of the vector this. A polarized wave is perpendicular to the electromagnetic wave, right? So you just do the dot product, you will get your answer. Minus 10, 3b and minus 2. So 3b is equal to 12, b equals to 4. Option number 1 is correct. Okay. Do the dot product, it will be equal to 0. A rectangular block of wood is located at the center of the flatbed truck. The truck accelerates to the east. It is accelerating to the east, right? And there is a block. So there will be a pseudo force. That means the friction force should act like this for it to maintain itself. They're asking about the direction of friction force. It is to the east direction only. Okay, in the same direction. During the melting of a slab of ice at 273 at atmospheric pressure, work done by ice to water system on atmosphere is positive. Now see, whenever it is getting converted from ice to water, the volume is increasing. If the volume is increasing, basically work is done ice to water. Oh sorry, the volume is reducing. Since the volume is reducing, therefore the surrounding is doing work. So that means work done by atmosphere is positive, not on atmosphere, by atmosphere is positive. B is correct. Internal energy of ice to water system increasing. Internal energy is increasing. Yes, absolutely correct. Because water particles are moving more randomly. So this is also correct. B and C are the right answer. Option number 2. Solid cylinder of density 5000 kg and height 2 meter is vertically from rest. This is a very, very nice problem and it involves a heavy calculation also. Okay. Now how we are going to solve it is, please try and understand. We are going to solve it using work energy theorem. So what they are saying over here is that there is a solid cylinder of density this much, height 2 meter is released vertically from rest into a large tank. Okay. So this is the tank. This is the tank, okay, and it remains like this and it begins to sink. Now when it begins to sink, it comes over here, right? Cylinder remains perfectly vertical while sinking and that the water offers no viscous resistance. The speed of the cylinder at the instant when its upper face B touches the water surface in meter per second. That means this is the upper surface B, this is A. So from here to here, they are asking what will be the value of velocity V. Now the point how to solve it is, in this scenario, obviously the potential energy is reducing. So there will be delta K plus delta U is equal to work done by non-conservative plus external forces. Okay. Now listen to this carefully. See, as the object is moving down, this thing is clear. See, finally it is going to be half mv square, initially is 0. Potential energy is moving down and how much it will move down? Obviously, sir, it will move down by height h. It will move down by height h, right? So this is h by 2, that means the entire cylinder is moving down by height h, that means minus mg into h, and height h is given, it is 2 meter. The work done by buoyant force is basically what we need to calculate. Now how I'm going to calculate buoyant force? Because buoyant force is not going to be constant. We will have to integrate the work done by buoyant force. So when let's say the cylinder has subsided down by a distance x, so the buoyant force acting upward will be equal to rho into volume of the submerged region, that can be written as area into x into g, and a very small work done over here when it moves down by a distance dx, that will be equal to dx, and now when you integrate it you will totally get the work done by buoyant force, and work done by buoyant force will be negative. Will it be negative? Yes sir, it will be negative. Why? Because force is upward, it is going downward, so you should add a negative sign also. Correct? Now rho ag will get out x dx from where? From 0 to L length. When you will integrate it, you will get rho ag into L square by 2. This is the work done. Now when you will keep it over here with the negative sign, you will finally get your answer. You will finally get your answer, right? So mgh minus rho ag L square by 2, you will get the answer, option number 1. You will have to calculate the velocity, things will eventually cancel out. Okay, do try this. It's a nice problem. Unpolarized red light is incident on the surface of a lake at grazing angle theta. An observer sees the light reflected from the water surface through a polarizer. It is observed that on rotating the polarizer, the intensity of light drops to 0 at certain orientation. What do you mean by this? This simply means that the light which was falling at such an angle which can be considered as Brewster angle, reason being because the reflected light rays are plane polarized. And that is the reason, if you will take up, let's say it is plane polarized in this direction. So if you take a Polaroid with the transmission axis like this, you will be able to observe it. But if you take the Polaroid whose transmission axis is this perpendicular to this, the intensity will become 0. So by this they are trying to convey you ki, sir, the angle which you have taken is nothing, is the Brewster angle. That means tan theta over here is basically nu. Am I clear? Understanding? So this is for red color. This is for red color. Okay. Now simple. If you are talking about blue light, the same thing you are talking about blue light. For blue light, the wavelength is lower. Clear? For blue light, the wavelength is lower. Yes, perfect. The red light is then depressed by the unpolarized blue light. The observer again observes the same effect with the reflected blue light. So again, for the reflected blue light, the same thing is going to happen. The grazing angle theta, basically they are talking about the angle at which the reflected light rays, they again make the same situation. Correct. So for that, for a blue light, the angle of the Brewster angle over here, or the angle of incidence over here, that should be lesser as compared to that of the red one. Is it clear or not? Right? So for the blue light, the reflecting, the grazing angle theta1 will be lesser than the angle which is there for the red light. Am I making sense? Right? So this is the scenario when we use a blue light over here. Okay, there's no sense of 45-degree angle over here. That's not the case which we have to discuss. Okay, chaliye, let's move ahead. An applied voltage signal consists of a superposition of a DC voltage and an AC voltage of high frequency. The circuit consists of an inductor and a capacitor, right? So basically what will happen is, in this kind of a scenario, the DC signal will appear across the capacitor and the AC signal appears across the inductor. There is a reason also. Inductor gets into picture only when there is an AC source. So AC signal, it appears across L, and DC signal, it appears across C. So option number 2 is correct. Okay. From a point on the ground, a particle is projected with a velocity u I cap, a I cap and 2a j cap. The magnitude of its average velocity during its motion from the starting point to the highest point is. So this is the horizontal component, this is the vertical component. At the highest point, you only will have the horizontal component, that is a I cap. Here you have a I cap and 2a j cap over here, correct. Now in order to calculate average velocity, see, average velocity is either calculate this distance, the displacement, okay, the displacement over here, which is going to be this whole divided by time. Either one approach is this, or the next approach is initial velocity plus final velocity whole divided by 2. Through this you will calculate the average velocity also. Okay, so initial velocity is 2a j cap and this, and final is only this much. When you add both of them, the answer will be equal to 2a I cap plus 2a j cap. Okay, whole divided by 2. So 2 will cancel, that means a I cap plus a j cap. This is the average velocity, and when you take the magnitude, it will be a root 2. That means option number 4 is correct. Clear? Making sense? So this is the case of average velocity over here. A particle is moving in a circular path. The acceleration and momentum of the particle at the certain moment are a vector equals to 4 I cap plus 3 j cap and p vector equals to 8 I cap minus 6 j cap. The motion of the particle is, just do a simple thing, just do the dot product, and if the dot product is turning out to be 0, that means this is going to be only centripetal acceleration. That means this will be a uniform circular motion. If it is not turning out to be 0, that simply means there is some acceleration along the momentum as well. Then it is going to be an accelerated circular motion. Okay, so this is the right answer. You do it, and yes, one more thing. If the dot product is turning out to be positive, it is accelerated. If it is turning out to be negative, it is deaccelerated. Am I making sense? If a dot p is greater than 0, then it is accelerated circular motion. A dot p is less than 0, it is deaccelerated. That means the acceleration is opposite to the velocity. So if you do the dot product, 8 4s are 32 minus 18. 32 minus 18 is obviously positive. That means it's an accelerated circular motion over here. N mole of an ideal diatomic gas are in cylinder at temperature T. Suppose on supplying heat to the gas, its temperature remains constant, but N moles get dissociated into atoms. So it is a diatomic gas. That means out of capital N, N moles have dissociated into 2 atoms each. Diatomic molecules, they dissociate into 2 atoms each, correct? So the N moles which get dissociated will now become 2N atoms, right? Correct? Or 2N moles, they will get converted to 2N moles, right? Now what is the heat supplied to the gas? So the heat supplied to the gas, now see, the cylinder over here is having a fixed volume. The cylinder over here is having a fixed volume. There is no work done. So it's just the change in internal energy. So initial internal energy will be how much? Sir, initial internal energy is simply going to be equal to NCV, NF RT by 2, right? It is NF, degree of freedom will be 5, RT by 2. This is the relation of internal energy, NF RT by 2. And final will be equal to how much? So N, now the number of moles capital N minus small n will be there, which are still diatomic, 5 RT by 2. And how many have dissociated? Sir, N moles have dissociated into monoatomic. So there are now 2N moles. So 2N moles, degree of freedom is 3 for monoatomic by 2. When you will solve it, you will get the answer as option number 2. You solve it, you will get the answer as option number 2 over here. Clear? Making sense? Basically what you need to do is, the delta Q over here is delta U. That means U final minus U initial. So when you will subtract it, this will cancel this entirely, and 2 and 3 are by 2 minus 5 nRT by 2. So this is 6 nRT by 2 minus 5 nRT by 2. That will be eventually equal to nRT by 2. Right? Option number 2 is the right answer. Remote control of a TV emits infrared light of wavelength 900 meter. Very nice question. Quite confusing also. A TV detector is made of a semiconductor whose band gap is XeV. Okay. The detector is shielded by a semiconductor optical fiber whose band gap is Y. From the options below, select the best option for the TV to function. Correct, sir. Now, the point is, if the TV wants to function, then the band gap, which is XeV over here, should actually be lesser than whatever is the energy of these wavelength. Are you understanding? Whatever is the energy of these infrared lights which will be emitted by the TV, this XeV should be lesser than that. Now, can you calculate the value? HC upon lambda, it will turn out to be nearly 1.4 eV. How much? 1.4 eV. That means this X value should be less than 1.4 eV. And just by that sake, only option number 1 is matching. Only option number 1 is matching. Clear? The detector is shielded by a semiconductor optical filter also. Okay, whose band gap is YeV. So it should be slightly more than that. Based on that, we can predict it's going to be 1.5. So it's a bit offbeat kind of a question, not very much quite oftenly asked. It's a rare type of a problem, but understandable. The wire AB of a meter bridge changes linearly from radius small r to 2r, from left end to right end. Length of wire is 1 meter. Where should the free end of the galvanometer be changed? So here again you will have to solve using calculus, right? Here the diameter is basically changing in this manner. Okay, so the resistance correct. Now the resistance over here is rho L by A. Correct. So more is the area. If there is more area, then the lesser should be the length also. If the area is high, then the length should be high. And if the area is less, then the length should be less, because you want to match. See, there is 10 ohm, 10 ohm. That means wherever the galvanometer should tap, both of their resistance should be same. So here you can see the radius is increasing. That means the area is more. Therefore, the length over here should also be more. So the balance point of the galvanometer should be towards over here. So it shouldn't be 2 by 3 from end A. It shouldn't be 3 by 4 from end A. It should either be 1 by 4 and 1 by 3. And basically when you will calculate right from R to 2R, it's a very standard case over here. The answer turns out to be 1 by 3 meter only. Okay. In many numericals, we have done these kinds of cases wherein the length is changing from this to this. The density is varying. You must have seen cases of lambda is varying directly related to X. So what is the end result over here when you try to find out the answer? So based on that only you will calculate it. A little bit of calculus, but option number 2 will be correct. Okay. In the circuit shown in the figure, the total charge is 750 microcoulomb and the voltage across capacitor is 20 volt. Then the charge on capacitor C2 will be. What will be the charge on capacitor C2? See, the point is total charge is 750 microcoulomb. Okay. And the voltage across capacitor C2. So C2 is where? C2 is here. So this is going to be 20. Done, sir. Absolutely correct. Now, if this is 20, that means you can find out the charge on this. How, sir? C into V. That means 8 into 20. That means 160 microcoulomb in this. So in total, it is 750. That means the charge on capacitor C2 will be 750 minus 160 is 690, 590. So 590 microcoulomb. Option number 2 is the right answer. Simple. Which of the following is not correct for a particle in simple harmonic motion? Option number 4. The restoring force is either towards, nahi, it should always be towards the equilibrium position. So away is wrong. So 4th is the incorrect one. A rectangular bar of length L, breadth B and depth D is at the ends of two walls. A load W applied at its center. Y is the Young's modulus. The amount of sag at the center is. Here you just need to calculate the extension, but here please notice this question can logically be also solved. How? Because if you will notice, it has different dimensions altogether. Okay, it has different dimensions. Not only dimensions, yes, it has dimensions. Basically, the standard answer for this is this, but when you will check about this and this, see there is a dimensional change over here. Okay, then when you will talk about this and this, there is a dimensional change over here in the denominator, if you will notice. When you will talk about this and this, there is again a dimensional change. So you can solve this question even, let's say you're not able to understand anything, through dimensional analysis also, because all the four have different dimensions. And the best part is length, breadth, depth, they all will get cancelled. So it's a simple case, you can very easily find out. A thin wire of mass capital M and length L is turned into a ring. The moment of inertia about its axis will be. Thin wire of mass M and length L is turned into the moment of inertia about its axis. So basically about its axis, it will be mr square. Now r over here is simply going to be L is equals to 2 pi r. That means L square upon 4 pi square, right? L square upon 4 pi square. Option number 1 is the correct answer. Electrostatic potential in a region of space. This is a very, very, very nice question. I don't know how many of you were able to solve this. See, the potential is given. We need to find out the equation of electric field line. Now, equation of electric field line can be easily calculated. E is equal to minus of grad V. Partially differentiate it, you will get it to be minus of 2x along I cap, and this is going to be minus 2y along j cap. This is the electric field line. But the point is, here the equation of electric field line, see how that is given. So basically the equation of electric field lines, they're not asking. The equation of the lines of force, how the lines are getting arranged. So see here what you will have to do is, you will have to talk about Ex. Ex is minus 2x and Ey is, sir, Ey over here is your plus 2y. Now at any point in time, if let's say this is electric field, this will be Ex, this will be Ey. So this is tan theta. Now tan theta over here will be this dy upon this dx. So tan theta over here will be dy by dx, and that eventually will be Ey by Ex. So dy by dx value is turning out to be how much? 2y upon minus 2x. 2 cancel. Take y over here, take x over here. So dy by y is equal to minus of dx upon x. Do the integration. This integration will give you the result as natural log y equals to minus of natural log x plus c. Take this over here. Natural log x plus natural log y equals to natural c. This is natural log xy is equal to constant. So xy can actually be written as e raised to the power this constant, which eventually is going to be constant only. So this is the final equation, xy is equal to constant, option number 1. This is how you find out the equation of the line of force. The equation of the line of force. Clear? Perfect? Right. Let's move it for the next one. Match the items in list 1 with those in list 2 and select the appropriate choice from those given below. This is a very standard kind of a case. Option number 1 is the right answer over here. A ball of mass small m moving with velocity u makes a head-on collision with another identical ball at rest. The kinetic energy of the system after collision is k. Maximum possible value of u will exist when they have an inelastic collision. When they have an inelastic collision, okay? Then you will have the maximum possible value of u. So this is u, this is at rest, they collide, they both will move with a common velocity v. So mu will be equal to 2m into v. V will be equal to how much? U by 2. Now find out the final kinetic energy is how much? The final kinetic energy is half of m into v square, which is u square by 4. Correct? This is k. This over here is k. Am I clear? Half of mu square by 4. You will have to multiply 2m also. Why? Because there are two masses. Half of 2m, there are two masses now. 2m into u square. So this turns out to mu square by 4. So u will be equal to 4k by m. Option number 3. The velocity and acceleration of particle moving in a plane are given by u equals to 2i cap minus j cap and a equals to I cap plus 2j cap. Then the rate of change of speed of the particle at that instant is. Rate of change of speed before moving ahead and doing anything, Just try to do the dot product. If you do the dot product, what you will see, 2 into 1 minus 2, it is 0. That means acceleration is perpendicular to velocity. There will be no change in velocity magnitude. So rate of change of speed will be 0. Okay. Energy spectrum of a black body exhibit a maximum around a wavelength lambda naught. The temperature of the black body is now changed such that the maximum is now around wavelength 3 lambda by 4. The power radiated is, see, the maximum lambda is inversely related to temperature, correct? And the power over here is directly related to temperature raised to the power 4. So P1 is to P2 will actually be equal to lambda 2 is to lambda 1 whole raised to the power 4, correct? So I think you can, power radiated by the black body, you need to find out P2. So P2 over here will be P1 into lambda 1 is to lambda 2 whole raised to the power 4, right? Now lambda 2 is 3 lambda by 4, you will take 4, 256 upon 81 is the right answer. Interference and diffraction effect are consistent with energy conservation, absolutely correct. The energy is properly conserved. When a raindrop starts falling from the cloud level before it reaches the terminal velocity, then its acceleration velocity respectively. See, velocity will increase, and talking about acceleration, initially you have mg, later on viscous force begins to act. So basically acceleration reduces. Option number 2 is correct. Let P and E denote the linear momentum energy of photon if the wavelength is decreased. If the wavelength is decreased, then both P and E increases. Yes, h upon lambda and hc upon lambda. Option number 1 is correct. When an object is in translational equilibrium, which of the statement is not true? Well, this looks quite convincing, but this is the wrong answer over here, because when you are in translational equilibrium, there can also be a situation that the buoyant force and viscous forces are balancing the mg force and you are moving with a terminal velocity. This is known as the state of translational equilibrium, but here this kind of an equilibrium is not known as static, this is dynamic since the object is in motion. So option number 2 is correct. Two soap bubbles have radii R1 and R2. See, the correct relation is R equals to under root of R1 plus R2 square. This is a very standard result. You must be knowing, taught in fluid mechanics. Okay. So with this, we finally come to an end to this session. Overall, if you'll ask me, this is a standard NEET 2025 paper with around 5 to 10 questions which were not conventional, which were new. You normally don't solve it, and they could have taken up a lot amount of time. And yes, if you solve this paper, if you're getting good marks, then that is a very nice thing. So this is very much close to the paper which we have seen in NEET 2025, if in RE-NEET such a kind of paper arises. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care. We'll connect in the next one. Till then, take care everyone. Thank you.
Hello students, we will be discussing about RE-NEET examination Grand Test Series number 4. The paper is prepared and it is at the level of NEET examination standards, and let us discuss the question number 1. Identify a non-suitable reagent for the following conversions. NEET examination questions comes always in this way, non-suitable reaction. So you can say here cyanide is converted into aldehyde. For this conversion, we can use dibol H as a reagent. Of course, it can be done by using H3O plus C2H5OH, and dibol H it can be used, and dibol H further hydrolysis can be used, and SnCl2 HCl and H2O. This is a Stephen reduction. This can also be used, while lithium aluminum hydride can make this cyanide into primary amine. So this is not the suitable reagent. For this question, option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is asking about decreasing order of pKa of the following. These are all the phenol and the nitrophenol combination. Decreasing order of pKa. So let us say acidic strength is directly proportional to its Ka value, and acidic strength is inversely proportional to its pKa value. So let us talk about the acidic strength. So orthonitrophenol and paranitrophenol, you are going to have minus R effect and minus R effect and minus I effect and minus I effect. So that we can expect orthonitrophenol is more acidic than paranitrophenol because of the intramolecular hydrogen bonding acidic strength, you're going to say paranitrophenol is greater than orthonitrophenol. When it is talking to the meta position, only inductive effect works, but resonance effect do not works. So I want to say C is more than A. So in this way, this is the acidic strength, and pKa is going to be D is less than, B is less than, C is less than A. So for this question, I want to say A, C, D, B and D, option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is asking about the Zeldal method. Which of the following compound Zeldal method is applicable for the estimation of nitrogen? Zeldal method is applicable for the organic compound to estimate the nitrogen amount. But here, if the nitrogen is a part of ring, if the nitrogen is part in the azo groups, the Zeldal method is not applicable. Azobenzene is not applicable, nitrobenzene and is not applicable, and quinoline is not applicable. Benzyl amine amino group is freely found out of this benzene ring and it can be applicable. I want to say option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question from the hydrogen spectrum, structure of atom. Frequency of emitted photon of hydrogen spectrum in Paschen series is given by nu is equal to 3.29 into 10 raise x of 1 by 3 square minus 1 by n2 square. In this equation, the value of x is. So from the Rydberg equation, we can say 1 by lambda is equal to nu bar is equal to r g square of 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. And you can see here multiply either with here C. So C by lambda is equal to C Rydberg constant for hydrogen atom, R is equal to 1 only. So that is going to be 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. So that is equal to C by lambda is equal to nu. C by lambda is equal to nu. So this is the factor, you can say. So that factor 3 into 10 raise 8 into 10967.7. On doing so, you are going to get 3.29 into 10 raise 15. So this factor x comes to be 15. The answer for this question is going to be 2. Students, this question is from the molecular orbital theory. It is given as a statement 1 and statement 2. So in the statement 1, the number of anti-bonding electron pairs of O2 2 minus molecule or on ion basis on the molecular orbital theory is 3. So if you say this is O2 2 minus, so if you write the electron configuration sigma 1s2, sigma star 1s2, sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2, sigma 2pz2, sigma pi 2px2, pi 2py2, pi star 2px2 and pi star 2py2. So there are 4 electrons are there, and he said that only 3 electrons are there. So I want to say statement 1 is wrong. And in 2px and 2py, these are degenerate orbitals according to molecular orbital theory. Yes, they have the same energy levels. So this statement is correct. Statement 1 is wrong. Statement 1 is correct. Option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question, select the salt that can provide maximum number of ions per mole in its aqueous solution. Cisplatin. So that is going to be Pt, NH3, Cl2. It do not ionize. Number of ions is going to be 0. Prussian blue, that is called Fe4, FeCN6 thrice. On ionization, you go for Fe3 plus, FeCN6 4 minus total 4 plus 3 is going to be 7 ions you are going to get. And carnallite KCl MgCl2 dot 6H2O. So 3 ions and 2 ions, 5 ions you are going to get. Triamine triaqua chromium 3 chloride. So total 4 electrons are going to be formed. 4 ions are going to be formed. Maximum number of ions that are produced by here, it is a Prussian blue. The answer for this question is going to be option 2 is the correct answer. Students, this question is from Bohr's atomic theory. According to Bohr's theory, correct statements are: it is said that angular momentum of electron second orbit of helium 2 plus is going to be h by pi. So MVR is equal to NH by 2 pi. It is true for hydrogen and hydrogen-like species. For second orbit, it is going to be n is equal to 2. So 2h by 2 pi, h by pi, true. Velocity of the electron is proportional to z by n, it is correct. And radius of the first orbit of hydrogen atom is going to be 52.9 angstrom units, that is going to be 0.529 angstrom units. And energy difference between second orbit and first orbit is greater than the energy difference between third orbit to fifth orbit. So according to Bohr's theory, the difference in the energy levels of the subsequent shells decreases as move away from the nucleus. True. I could say A, B, D only are true. Answer for this question is the first option is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from aldehydes and ketones, carbonyl compounds. Assertion: aldehydes are more reactive than ketones towards nucleophilic addition. It is true, and it is a phenomenal, because this is your aldehyde and this is your ketone. The penetration of the nucleophile is easy over here, so that aldehyde is going to react really good as compared to the penetration of the nucleophile. Here it is difficult, so it is going to be wrong and it is going to be correct. So we can say it is a true statement. Greater the steric hindrance, that what I am experiencing here, it is a steric hindrance. So alkyl groups by the electron releasing effect of the plus I effect and the ketones makes the aldehyde more reactive as compared to the ketone. Yes, this is the exact reason for this assertion. I would say both A and are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from qualitative salt analysis. So a salt solution gives white precipitate with ammonium chloride, ammonium hydroxide and H2S. It is precipitated as sulfide in the basic media. So it is supposed to be group 4 cation. It is supposed to be group 4 cation. So, and it dissolves if a drop of NaOH is added to the salt solution, a dirty white precipitate is formed, and which is dissolved in the excess of NaOH. Among them, I would like to say zinc. It is going to be H2S. In the alkaline medium, I just want to say ammonium plus, so zinc sulfide black precipitate, white precipitate is formed, and this zinc 2 plus in the sodium hydroxide, you are going to get zinc hydroxide, and this precipitate is dissolved in excess sodium hydroxide to give rise Na2ZnO2, sodium zincate is formed. So I would like to say option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is all about the vitamins. You can say vitamins and the metals present in the various sources. Mesh metal, you can say it is iron is present. Vitamin B12, you can say cobalt, cyanocobalamin, and Lindlar's catalyst you can say PD in BaSO4, and Lucas reagent and zinc chloride and concentrated HCl. So these are the combinations. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here given below are two statements, statement based questions, statement 1 and statement 2. 16th group, the element with highest melting point is tellurium. It is a phenomenal, it is given in the NCERT, it is a true statement. Statement 2, PbF4 does not exist due to ionic nature while PbI4 do exist as it's a covalent nature. It is not correct. PbI4 do not exist. Why? Because Pb plus 4 is unstable due to inert pair effect and I minus is a good reducing agent. Okay. So it said that PbI4 exists. How can in the presence of reducing agent it is easily converting into Pb2 plus? PbI4 do not exist. Statement 2 is wrong. Statement 1 is true. Statement 2 is wrong. So the answer for this question is option 3. Students, here it is one more statement based question. Statement 1. Interstitial compounds are usually non-stoichiometric and neither typically ionic nor covalent. It is a wonderful statement and it is a correct statement. And statement 2, V2O5 react with alkali as well as acid to gives rise different products. Of course, V2O5 is amphoteric in nature. Therefore, I want to say here option both statements are true. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is about the mechanism based question. Which of the following reaction does not involve SN2 mechanism? This is sodium alkoxide react with a methyl bromide. It is going to be an SN2 reaction. Williamson ether synthesis. And preparation of alcohol, preparation of ether from alcohol, it follows SN2 reaction. And you just see once this is formed CH3, CH2OH, once it is protonated from the H2SO4, you are going to get CH3, OH and H plus. Now C2H5OH, the lone pair of electrons is attacking here, so that you will be having CH3 and oxygen and C2H5, that is also C2H5, C2H5. So it is SN2 attack. This is SN2 attack. So this is SN2, this is SN2, and Gabriel thalamide reaction, this is SN2 attack. While this is HI, it is going to form a stable carbocation, you can say CH3, CH3 and CH3, O CH3. So when it is protonated, you are going to get CH3 and CH3, CH3 and O and CH3 and H, and it is a positive. When it is liberated as CH3, OH is lost, and you are going to get CH3 and CH3 and CH3, positive will be formed. Now it is going to add with I minus, so it is going to be CH3, so it is going to be SN1 type reaction. It is going to be SN1 type reaction, CH3 and CH3 and CH3I. Because of this is a carbocation formed, it is going to be SN1 type reaction. So this cannot be. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is about VSEPR theory. The compounds are given, the type of molecule is given. So A, B, C, D are given. SF4, it is going to be fluorine and fluorine and fluorine and fluorine. So it is AB4 E type. and BRF3, BR, F and F, you are going to see AB3E2 type, and I3 minus 1, iodine and iodine and iodine, you will be having AB2E3 type, and SO2, S double bond O and O, lone pair of electron, AB2E type. So you can match it, and the answer for this question is going to be option 4 is the answer. Here again you got a statement 1 and a statement 2 question. Statement 1, phenol gives a brown precipitate with aqueous solution. So phenol is treated with aqueous bromine. You are going to get tribromophenol, which is a white precipitate, Br and Br and Br, and it is going to be white PPT. So I would like to say option statement 1 is wrong, and statement 2, phenol is a weaker acid than ethanol. So this is also wrong statement. Phenol is stronger acid than alcohol. So therefore I would like to say both statements are going to be wrong for this question. Students, this question is asking about which of the following statements are true. So let us identify the true statements. Argon, potassium plus chromium 6 plus S2 minus are all isoelectronic species. Yes, all are having the same number of electrons. So you are going to get 18 electron species. So it is a true statement. So the correct order of positive electron gain enthalpies of the noble gases are given helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, which is not actually correct. Actually the order comes to be neon is nearly equal to argon, is greater than krypton, then xenon, then helium will come. So that this statement is a wrong statement, and IUPAC official name of the atomic number 109 is metrinium. So that is also a correct one, and this is also a correct statement. And atomic radius of sulfur is greater than aluminum and silicon. That is not correct. That is not correct. So if you say aluminum is greater than silicon is greater than phosphorus is greater than sulfur. So that this is a wrong statement. And Al2O3, SnO2, Sb2O3 and Cr2O3 are amphoteric oxides, and this is a correct statement. Based on that, I would like to say A, C, E are the correct statements. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Hello students, this is the question from chemical kinetics. The question is asking about half-life of first order reaction is x/2. Time taken for completion of this 87.5% of the same reaction is. You want to say for the first order rate kinetics, so time is equal to 2.303 by k log A naught upon AT. If you take initially time taken for this 87.5%, 2.303 by k log, if you take 100%, 100 here, 87.5 is consumed, so 12.5 is going to be left. So if you do so, here it is going to be 2.303 by k log 8. So log 8 you can write as a 2 cube, 2.303 by k, so log 2 cube. You know, that is going to be 3 into 2.303 by k, so log 2 you can say. This you can write as a t half, therefore t 87.5 is equal to 3 into t half. So that is equal to x/2. On doing so, the time required for this 1.5 times of x, you can say option 1 is the correct answer for this question. So A3 reversibly gives rise 3A is carried out in 1 liter vessel at 360 degree Kelvin, and A3 is given as 3A. So in this decomposition, at equilibrium, you can say A of 1 minus alpha and 3A alpha is the number of moles. And the given condition, number of moles of products is 3A alpha is equal to twice 3 into A of 1 minus alpha. So you can solve alpha for this. A will be striked off and alpha you are going to get this 0.4. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is from solubility and solubility product based question here. Solubility product of AgCl 1.96 in 10 power minus 10 is given. AgCl at equilibrium it is going to give us Ag plus and Cl minus. So AgCl solubility product comes to be here. KSP is going to be Ag plus and Cl minus. And here it is going to be solubility, let us say yes, KSP is going to be S square, S is going to be root over KSP, that is comes to be root over KSP value is going to be 1.96 into 10 power minus 10 comes to be 1.4 into 10 power negative 5. That is its solubility. Solubility is given for mole per liter and it is given for 696.8 milliliter. I wanted to say for 0.6968 liters. So solubility that is going to be 1.4 into 10 power minus 5 into 0.6968, that is for, so that is for number of moles. And I want to talk about the mass that is used here. 1.4 into 10 raised negative 5 into 0.6968 is multiplied with the molecular mass of AgCl, that comes to be 143.5. On doing so, you are going to get 14 into 10 raised negative 4. So the answer for this question is going to be option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a question from thermodynamics, again assertion and reason type question. Assertion: melting of ice is spontaneous above 273 Kelvin. Above 0 degree centigrade, ice is going to be spontaneously melts. It is a reason. So we have delta G is going to be delta H minus T delta S. Now I wanted to say melting of an ice is an endothermic process. So for that, above 273, the process of melting of ice, magnitude of this is less than this. So it cannot be greater than this because this is an endothermic process. Reason is not correct. So the answer for this question, A is true or is false for this question. Students, here it is a question, the total number of secondary alcohols. We have to identify the total number of secondary alcohols, including stereoisomers possible having the molecular formula C5H12O. So here I just want to say this is a pentane structure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we put OH here, primary alcohol, I don't want a primary alcohol, make it a secondary alcohol. And you can see this is your another secondary alcohol, or otherwise you can see this is your another secondary alcohol. If you consider this is a chiral carbon, so that you are going to get a plus and minus, and this is not a chiral carbon, so pentan 3-ol is not a chiral carbon and this is a chiral carbon, so you are going to see plus and minus. Total structure 1, structure 2, structure 3, structure 4, structure 5. I got the 5 structures. Answer for this question is going to be option 3. Students, in the nickel cadmium battery, during the discharge, the change in oxidation state of the metal and the metal radical at anode and cathode. First let us see what is happening at anode. And the anode, it is happening cadmium 0 oxidation state in the presence of hydroxide In the basic medium, it is going to get cadmium hydroxide and 2 electrons are lost. So I can say it is going to be plus 2 oxidation state. 0 oxidation state to plus 2 oxidation state. At cathode, nickel, you are going to take the plus 3 oxidation state, you are going to get a nickel dihydroxide, and it is going to take the 2 electrons and it become nickel 2 plus. So 0 oxidation state to plus 2 oxidation state plus 3 oxidation state to, here it is going to be plus 3 oxidation state to plus 2 oxidation state is going on. So I want to say the option for this is option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is the question directly from NCERT. These are the vitamins and these are the deficiency syndrome. And let us see the riboflavin, and the deficiency syndrome is going to be, here it is going to be chiliosis, and thiamine it is going to be beriberi, and pyridoxine it is going to be convulsions, and ascorbic acid it is going to be scurvy. So the option for this question is going to be option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Here it is a set of solutions prepared by using 180 grams of water as a solvent and 10 grams of different non-volatile solutes, A with a molecular weight 100, B with 200, C with 10,000 are given. So the relative lowering of vapor pressure is in the order of, so any colligative property is inversely proportional to its molecular weight. Relative lowering of vapor pressure itself is a colligative property, and if you see molecular weight, if molecular weight increases, colligative property value decreases. So 10,000 value is lowest RLVP, then 2000 value is lowest, and the lowest among all is going to be A. So the answer for this question is going to be A, B and C. Option 1 is the correct answer for this. Students, this is an example based question from the chemical kinetics, and the first order reaction among the following: thermal decomposition of N2O5 is the basic first order reaction. Decomposition of N2O5, decomposition of H2O2, these are all first order kinetics. You can see CH3Cl and CH3Cl, chloroform Cl2 gives rise carbon tetrachloride, free radical substitution, zero order reaction, decomposition of ammonia on the surface of the high pressure, and this is also zero order. And I want to say thermal decomposition of N2O5 is going to be the first order reaction. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the question: which of the following is incorrect regarding clock reaction? So what exactly is happening in the clock reaction? Hydrogen peroxide react with I minus in the presence of H plus, you are going to get H2O plus I3 minus, and this I3 minus is going to react with thiosulfate, you are going to get sodium tetrathionate S4O6 2 minus, and I minus is regenerated. So let us say starch that is formed here with I2 gives rise to a blue in color. So I mean to say incorrect regarding everything is shown here, it is correct. This reaction is carried out in the presence of alkali, which is absolutely not correct. I want to say it is option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, you can see here which of the following are paramagnetic simply by looking at these structures, and you can identify the oxidation state. Copper 2 plus, you are going to have D9 configuration, it is going to be paramagnetic. And you can also see scandium 3 plus diamagnetic, platinum 2 plus it is going to be diamagnetic, nickel 2 plus is going to be diamagnetic, cobalt 2 plus is going to be paramagnetic, 3d7 it is a paramagnetic. I want to say A and D are going to be the paramagnetic, so option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the question. Assertion, reason type. Assertion, delta TB value of 0.1 molar urea is same as that of 0.1 molar glucose solution. So, colligative properties are dependent on the molality. As long as molality is constant, with irrespective of the chemical nature, the colligative property is constant. So, assertion is correct. And the reason, so the value of colligative property of an aqueous solution depends on the total number of solute particles. That's what it is explaining, and R explains the assertion. So, answer 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here 2 moles of 1 molar copper sulfate in aqueous solution is electrolyzed using inert electrodes. If 1 Faraday of charge is used up, the concentration of cupric ions left out. So, copper, you can see number of moles of copper 2 plus is going to be molarity into volume. Molarity is equal to volume is 2 is going to be 2 moles. When you take copper 2 plus, take 2 electron gives rise to copper. So, 2 Faraday electron can give 1 mole of copper, but here it is 1 mole of copper is used. So, 1 Faraday is used, so that 0.5 mole copper deposited. Therefore, what happened? Cu2 plus left is equal to 2 minus 0.5 is equal to 1.5. So, the molarity is equal to copper 2 plus left upon volume. So, 1.5 divided by 2, 0.75 molar. So, I want to say option 2 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question is asking about the stability of carbocation. This stability of carbocation, you can see, this is going to show only positive inductive effect. This is showing positive mesomeric effect. This is showing positive mesomeric effect. And here you can see positive mesomeric as well as positive inductive effect. Therefore, this is going to be more stable as compared to this. So, option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the question. A gives rise to product. It said that is a first order reaction, and the following data is obtained for this reaction at temperature T Kelvin. The value of X is to Y is. Here it is given rate 0.2 and initial concentration is 0.02. Rate is doubled here, becomes 0.4, and it is supposed to double the value 0.04 it will be. So, X is going to be 0.04. And rate is going to be become 5 times. Okay, so 5 times of this is going to be 0.1. So, Y is going to be 0.1. So, X is to Y is going to be 0.04, and upon 0.1 comes to be 2 is to 5. Option 5 is the correct answer. You need not have to solve a lengthy formula based question. So, look at this. If concentration is doubled, the rate will be doubled. Concentration become 5 times, rate will become 5 times. Simple logic I just want to use for this first order kinetics. Students, this question is asking from the chemical bonding, identify the incorrect orders against the property mentioned. Here it is given polarizability. As the size of anion increases, polarizability increases. Therefore, I minus Br minus Cl minus, correct. And you can see stability of the species Li2 plus, Li2 minus. Stability is directly proportional to the bond order, which can calculate by Nb minus Na by 2. So this is also correct. And you can see CO2, CO32 minus, CO bond strength. So bond strength, CO bond order is going to be 3, CO2 bond order is 2. So that it should be greater here, and it is the actual order, so that it is not correct. H of NH3H2O bond polarity. Bond polarity depends upon the various parameters. So not only the electronegativity, bond polarity of H2O is greater than NH3, so that it is also not correct. So I want to say only A and B correct, C and D are incorrect. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is the question from redox reactions and the concept of equivalence. If the number of moles of Fe2 plus ions oxidized by 1 mole of acidified KMnO4 is X, the number of moles of Fe2 plus oxidized by 1 mole of acidified K2Cr2O7 is Y. So it is said to be the ratio. If the number is X, you are asked to get the number of moles that is precipitated oxidized here. So you can see Fe2 plus and MnO4 minus in the acidic medium, it is going to get Fe3 plus and Mn2 plus. From here N is equal to 1 and here N is equal to 5, because it is going to be plus 7 oxidation state. So law of equivalence. So N into 1 into number of moles of Fe2 plus is equal to 5 into number of moles of KMnO4. So that is equal to, if the number of moles of oxidized by acidic. So I just want to say if X moles of this is going to be 5 over here. Okay, and in you take this Fe2 plus and K2Cr2O7, Cr2O7 2 minus in the acidic medium gives a Cr3 plus and Fe3 plus. Again you are going to see N is equal to 1. Here it is going to be N is equal to 6. I mean to say number of moles of iron 2 plus into 1 is equal to number of moles of Cr2O7 2 minus into 6. I mean to say it is going to be Y is equal to 6. Okay, now it is going to be 1 is equal to 5 by X, you can say. So Y is equal to 6 into 1, you can say. So Y is equal to 6 into 5 by X. So based on that, the answer for this question 6x by 5 is the answer for this question. And this is one more question, is the formation of A, B, C through protonation. So the protonation, how it is formed? It is protonated. How it is protonated? And how it is protonated? And these are the ABC, and these are the products, these are the parents. When it is protonated, the basic strength of the parents we have to check. So pyridine is already aromatic, so that lone pair is super available, while this is pyrrole, the lone pair of electron is participated in the contribution of aromatic thing, while I want to say aniline, aniline is delocalized and I want to say the most basic is going to be pyridine, then aniline, then pyrrole. So that ease of formation is going to be B is greater than C is greater than A. Understand? So the option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is a question, the correct order of energy of light absorbed by the following complex. Energy is equal to hc by lambda. The correct order of energy absorbed. So we have to check the order of CFSE. CFSE depends on first the oxidation state of the central atom, and you can see cobalt plus 3, all are plus 3 oxidation state with the cobalt. Then strength of the ligand, I want to say, among the strength of the ligand you can see cyanide is the strongest ligand, then En, then you can say H2O, rather least you can say F minus. So the answer for this question is going to be C is greater than D is greater than A is greater than B. Students, let us see the root mapping of the organic structure that is given. And the benzene treated with ethyl chloride, you are going to get ethyl benzene, CH2, CH3. If it is treated with the chlorine, you will be having CH and CH3, and it will be Cl. Here it is given 2 moles of Cl2, therefore I can make one more chlorine here, so that if it is hydrolyzed by KOH, I want to say, you are going to see COH and OH and CH3, and this is dehydrated automatically because it is a geminal diol. It gives its corresponding C double bond O CH3. So this is the product Z, and this product Z can be formed. It is formed through Friedel-Crafts acylation. Friedel-Crafts acylation is the benzene and CH3COCl. In the presence of AlCl3, you would be getting COCH3, the same product you got it here. So answer for this question is going to be 3. Students, here is a question from the major product Q in the following sequence of reactions. So it is a compound treated with HBr in the presence of peroxide, and you would be getting, in the presence of peroxide, you will be having NO2, and here it is going to be Br. Then it is treated with AgCN. So you will be having and NC. Isocyanide is going to be formed. So 2 carbons, right? It is going to be NC. And this is subjected for reduction, nickel and hydrogen. You are going to get the product NH2CH3 and NO2. So I want to say the option for one primary aryl amino group and one secondary alkyl amino group is there, and this nitro group is also reduced by nickel and hydrogen, so it will be hydrogen over here, so that primary aryl amine and secondary alkyl amine. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is a question from thermodynamics. 1 mole of an ideal gas at 300 Kelvin and 20 atm expands to 2 atm under isothermal reversible conditions. Whenever isothermal reversible condition, work done, expansion negative, and you can say here 2.303 nRT, pressure variation P1 upon P2, and that is negative 2.303 into 1 mole into R value 8.3 is comfortably given, and temperature is going to be 300 Kelvin, and the pressure is going to be 20 atmosphere become 2 atmosphere. So I just want to say it is going to be log. Here it has forgot to write the log. So you can say minus 2.303 into 1 into 8.3 into 300 into log 10. Log 10 is equal to 1. So I want to say negative 2.303 into 8.3 into 300. Now on doing so, you are going to negative 5.73, you are going to get the answer, kilojoules. So 5.73, option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, it is a question based on the periodic classification. It's a simple question. Which among the following electronic configuration belong to main group elements? Main group elements means all S block and P block elements except group 18. All main group elements, this is the main group element 4s1 group 1 element, and it is a D block element and it is an S block element, and this is going to be F block element, and this is also going to be F block element. The answer for this question is going to be A and C is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is the question from reaction kinetics, and the graphs are directly given from the NCERT textbook. The given plots present in the variation of concentration of reactant with time, or two different reactions are given, 1 and 2. The respective orders of the reaction. Concentration of the reactant versus time is going to be a negative slope, is going to be a 0 order, but log concentration versus time is going to be a straight line. It is going to be the first order reaction. So I just want to say 0 and 1, option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this is a biomolecule related carbohydrate based question. Here incorrect statement about the given carbohydrate is the above compound is a reducing sugar. In order to be a reducing sugar, the sugar should have either free aldehyde group or a hemiacetal linkage. So you can see this is a reducing sugar, correct statement. Above compound gives a positive tolerance test. This compound is going to give all the reducing sugars, you will give the positive tolerance test. The compound is a non-reducing sugar, wrong. And above compound gives only one type of monosaccharide on hydrolysis, and of course this structure is going to be maltose structure, and it is going to give you 2 alpha D glucose structures. This is also a correct statement. Option 1, 2, 4 or the correct, option 3 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here is the question, combination of various statements. Consider the following statements, statement 1 and statement 2 and statement 3 and statement 4. We have to pick the correct statements. That is the biggest task for us. The pH of mixture containing 400 milliliters of H2SO4, 400 milliliters of sodium hydroxide will be approximately 1.3. So you can say NaVa. So NaVa is equal to 0.1 into 2 into 400, and NbVb. So NbVb is equal to 0.1 into 400. So which includes NaVa is greater than NbVb, the pH is supposed to be of course less than 7. I don't want to solve, you need not have to solve for this question. Option A is correct, statement 1 is correct. Ionic product of water is temperature dependent, of course. It is 1.0 into 10 power negative 14 at 25 degrees centigrade. As temperature increases, ionic product of water increases. Le Chatelier principle is applicable to common ion effect. Of course, common ion effect phenomena is a application of Le Chatelier principle. A mixture of HClO4 is a strong acid and its salt can never be a buffer. Wrong statements. I want to say true statements are 1, 2, 3 only. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, here it is the mass of one carbon atom in grams is. So, atomic mass is equal to 12 gram per mole, that is for carbon 12. I mean to say 6.022 into 10 raised 23 atoms is equal to 12 grams. One atom is equal to 12 divided by 6.022 into 10 raised 23 is coming to be 1.99 into 10 raised negative 23 grams. Option 4 is the correct answer for this question. Students, this question again it is from statement 1 and statement 2. So, statement 1, benzene amine gives a stable diazonium salt on diazotization. Aromatic diazonium compounds are stable. So, statement 1 is correct. Acetic acid do not form yellow precipitate with sodium hydroxide and iodine, because acetic acid is going to be a cross conjugation here. However, it looks like a methyl ketone. It do not give rise iodoform test. It is also a correct statement. So, both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Option 1 is the correct answer for this question. Students, which of the following is not a proper match? Let us talk about this aldehyde is treated with alkali. It is going to give rise alpha hydroxy aldehyde, it is aldol reaction, correct. And it is N2H4 when carbonyl group is converted into alkane, Wolff-Kishner reduction. And acid chloride is converted into aldehyde with PDBA. This is Rosenman reduction. This is Rosenman reduction. This is a wrong match. And benzene, CO, HCl, Cu2Cl, and it is going to Gattermann-Koch reaction. This is called correct. So, option 3 is the correct answer for this question. With this, we completed this GT4. Hope you did well, and just revise the things and attempt as many as grant tests that are possible. Thank you.